Okay, we're going to come off of this towel from our low back and we'll pick up our bolster again or our pillows folded blanket. And this time we're going to align it so it's in line with the spine. And we're going to lay on it the upper body, head, shoulders, and upper body. And we're going to feel in this position. Well, first of all, we can straighten our legs if that feels comfortable. If you get in that position and it's not comfortable, you can try bending the knees, placing a pillow underneath or another bolster underneath to prop it, or you're welcome to keep the knees bent as well. Legs are relaxed if possible. And let's feel for the ribs to sink down towards the mat. And we're going to open our arms to a T shape. They're just slightly below the shoulders, maybe, or in line with the shoulders, palms facing up. And you're welcome to place a prop under the forearms if needed to support a restful position here. Let's take some imagery into our breathing. So we're going to imagine we have pretty flower petals in our belly button. And as we exhale, the flower petals are going to fall through the body down towards the floor. And as you inhale, either letting the mind rest or maybe creating some new petals for the belly button. Exhale, petals fall through the body towards the floor. Staying with that petal visualization if it's working for you. We're going to do a few more breaths here while I just explain why we've been working on this month. Because of the ways many of us use our arms during the day, a lot of us will find we have shoulder stiffness or tightness. And so, as a response to that, when we lift our arms overhead, often what we will do is hinge our spines to help get the arms up. And so we call that a rib flare. The ribs open, they lift and open. And for many people, you'll do this and you'll not notice any issues. And also, for some people, it can lead to areas of sensitization in the back, that area between the vertebrae that are doing the hinging. And it can also impact, well, some people will find that the impact of the shoulder range of motion starts to become challenging for daily tasks or activities. And it also can contribute to challenges with strengthening the core because every time our ribs lift and open, we're lengthening the tissues between the ribs and the pelvis. So our abdominal muscles that run down there and the fascia. And so this exercise is encouraging the ribs to soften, to find that alignment. And we're not using muscular effort to soften. We're letting gravity help find that softening where the bottom rib and hip bone can be in line, which is like a retraining that we're doing to let the body know that we can move our arms independent of our spine, which is where this next exercise comes into play. So we're going to move into our angel arms here. So from here, if this feels like a pretty good stretch and you're just right challenge, you are more than welcome to continue breathing here. If you want to take it up a notch, what we'll do is we'll rotate the arm bone in the shoulder socket so that thumbs come down towards the floor and palms face towards the not ceiling, the wall behind the head. And if that feels like a good enough stretch, what you can do is move between there and palm down. And you can do that rotation right here. And if you'd like to build on, like we've been doing the other weeks, you can start to float the arms up towards the head and we'll encourage the ribs to stay soft And then we'll open the arms down to the side. We're going to keep that rotation, thumbs facing down. As the arms come in, palms can face the thighs. And then we'll find that rotation, rotating arm and shoulder socket, thumb towards the floor, and opening up. So as you do this, the arms don't have to be touching the floor, but every once in a while, you may want to just check in and see if you have a little bit more range to lower the arms closer to the floor, with the idea being that maybe one day we can get the thumbs either touching or close to the floor. And I find in my own body, in certain parts of this range, I can have my thumbs touching, and in other parts, as I get towards my ears, I lift them a little bit. And that's totally fine if that's what you are doing. Throughout the movement, we're really encouraging the ribs to soften and be heavy towards the floor. The bolster is really helping with that. So as the arms are moving, the bolster is helping the body find that position that we really want to encourage anytime we're using our arms, really, like lying down or standing. And so, well, we're going to leave this exercise behind for a little bit. We'll revisit it over time. But this may be something that you want to include in your at-home time as one of your, sometimes we call them corrective exercises. Corrective meaning that it's going to help create a new movement pattern for the body that's going to help make loads of things easier, including breathing and lots of activities that require the use of the arms. This is going to be our last one, opening down to the sides. So we're going to move in from here to the log pullover. If in the last couple of weeks you've noticed as you've done this exercise where you're bringing the arms overhead that the ribs want to lift away from the floor, then I encourage you to stay exactly where you are on the bolster, and you'll do this exercise there. The next step down from there would be to move the bolster so it's on the head and upper part of the shoulders, encouraging the ribs down. And the third step would be to come right off of the bolster and lay down, maybe with a towel under the head. I'm going to do that today just so that you can see a little bit. I think it's a little bit easier maybe to see what I'm doing like that, but all of those choices are good choices, whatever feels right for your body. Here you can still have your legs extended. We're going to take our, oops, I almost threw that at my face. We're going to take our blocks and we're going to hold the end or whatever prop you're using, and holding it above the chest, and elbows are going to be slightly bent, and pressing the palms gently together. Let's open the elbows towards the side of the body. Notice as you do that, the arm bone is doing an internal rotation in the shoulder socket. And as the elbows come towards one another, the arm bones are rotating externally in the shoulder socket. Let's try that one more time. We'll open the elbows to the side. We're doing an internal rotation. And as the elbows come in, we're doing an external rotation. So for this exercise, we want to see if we can keep the elbows gently pressing towards one another and the palms gently pressing towards one another. There are going to be two limiting factors here. We're going to start to carry this block overhead. Limiting factor number one is going to be, you'll notice that the ribs start to lift away from the floor. And if you're in a place where you notice that, you're going to invite the ribs to soften, and that's going to be your range of motion. You'll start to come back in. If that's not something you notice, the second thing that's sort of going to be a indicator is the shoulder range of motion in your shoulder. So as you keep those elbows in, you're going to find the shoulders will eventually hit a spot where they're like, yeah, this is good for me. And then you're just going to come back in from there. Let's add our breathing here. We're going to inhale as the block comes overhead. And we're going to exhale as we come in. Trying not to force anything, just working right at the edge of your comfort zone if that's the right choice for you tonight. You can also work within a zone that just feels really good and comfortable for you too. Notice as you do this, if you have noticed any changes or differences over the last 4 classes. It's okay if you have or haven't. And also take note as we move through it, if you notice that the range starts to increase in these reps. Ribs are soft, heavy to the floor. We'll do 2 more. If your shoulders have started to fatigue and your elbows are poking out, I'll get you to take a little pause. Last one. We'll put that block down. Little exercises, big impact. Shake out the shoulders. From here, we'll bend the feet in, heels align with sits bones. If you have something under your head, I'll get you to just scooch it out. And we'll go into our articulating bridge here, feeling for equal weight between both sides, both the left and right foot. And we'll start to peel the spine up one vertebra at a time until the weight is on the feet and the shoulder girdle. Notice the hips high, ribs soft, just like we've been practicing. And then we'll roll back down. Let's do that again. Let's inhale as we peel up. Sit bones are gliding towards the back of the knee. That's going to help this position of hips high, ribs low. And exhale as we roll down. If you want, we're going to add rib cage angel arms to this movement, optional. Inhale, arms float up. And exhale, opening around. Just taking note of how this feels tonight compared to other times we've done this exercise. Inhale up. I always find that after those shoulder exercises, my shoulder range of motion feels easier, and it also helps my upper back feel a little bit like it has more ease because it's not trying to help as much with my shoulders, or there's maybe less stretch sensation there, I should say. So that might not be what you notice, but just notice what you feel. Maybe you feel nothing different, and that's okay. Just pay attention to what your body's telling you tonight. We're going to do 2 more, but know that you can stop whenever you've hit your just right challenge. Let's take a second, just take a breath here.